Hey folks, Longhorn Lester here, and yeah, I feel like I am quite the crip. Look at this. I will say the good news is that the swelling has finally gone down enough to where I can actually get the sling on. And as I'm moving around Longhorn Lester's, the sling is actually helping. The first couple of days it was tough. It actually felt better just letting my arm hang. But here we are on day number 3, and I've able to put the sling on this morning, and it feels a whole lot better being kind of supported here against my body. And so I know the swelling has gone down, and that's made it a whole lot easier. I'm still keeping a lot of ice on it, and I've done a few jobs this morning. Nothing too hard. I'm not pushing my limits, and I'm trying to work smarter, not harder, literally. I really am working smarter, not harder. We're waiting a couple of seconds here for Facebook to jump in. You know that whenever you use StreamYard, YouTube gets a notification right away, but it takes Facebook a little while to be able to find their way in. And here we go now. So, hey, everybody's here. Hey, folks, Lester's here. I know I haven't really explain to y'all what's going on with this whole daily live thing. There's nothing really going on. It's just that I find myself over here at Longhorn Lester's, middle of the day. It's too early to do the feeding. I do come over and give snacks for the big birds, and then I also turn on their water for the heat of the day. And then I have to wait until at least 2 or 3 o'clock before I can do the chores. That gives me time to leave here and then get over to I'm a Survivor and do those chores by 5 or 6. Time change will affect us a little bit, but not that much. So, going to start off by saying we still have you folks in Florida and you guys up in Canada in our prayers for what you're going through with the hurricanes Ian, I believe, and Fiona. And I haven't gotten any news from any of our followers. A lot of times, folks will email if they've been personally affected, and I haven't gotten anything. So I'm really hopeful that you guys are all okay, and so we are blessed for that. Okay, so we got a lot to talk about. Even though I'm certain that it'll most of what we're going to talk about will be in the regular videos, but we'll start off with the chicken coop. It was a real pleasure introducing you guys to Crandall and Marcy yesterday. Thank you guys for showing so much love to them. I really appreciate that. Thank you for showing them so much love. I saw that they posted a second video today, sort of there behind the scenes. Everything from going to the airport that morning, that we picked them up. There it goes. The AC just turned off. Now I can hear better. Everything from going to the airport the morning that we picked them up, all the way until getting to the farm, getting to the barn dominium, checking out their accommodations, and then, of course, going through the process of what they're going to do, meeting all the animals. I had no idea until this morning that poor Marcy was terrified of the cats, of the chickens. Poor baby, she never told us any of that, y'all. She never told us any of that. And so I felt bad. We're watching their video this morning. I subscribe to them now, so I get notifications whenever they make a video, and I'm like, oh, they posted a new video. Wait, it's about us. And so I turned it on, and I'm sitting there watching it, and I'm finding out that she was terrified of the cats, terrified of the chickens. And I'm like, poor baby, we sitting here had this pregnant woman who's walking around 8 months pregnant with twins, and she's sitting there living in fear the whole time. Yet she never showed it, y'all. She never showed it. And I admire her. I admire any of you women who've had to endure what strain you have on your body going through pregnancy, yet still able to get up and go to work. Or in this case, Marcy gets up and follows her man to work as Crandall sits there and toils away in the heat and the humidity. Marcy's right there by his side. And all she took was lots of pee breaks, and those are her words, not mine. All she needed was lots of pee breaks, which is hilarious because I know how even having babies, how often you have to go to the restroom. So poor baby. But we really like them as a couple. And I was receiving emails back and forth from the other folks who are going to be coming out in the next few weeks. And I'll tell you what, Marcy and Crandall set the bar high. They set the bar very high. And so these other couples and teams, they're not all couples, but these other teams are going to really have to work to win your hearts over, because I felt some sincere love on behalf of you guys to them. And so if you haven't seen their second video of their behind the scenes, that will be interesting to watch. Of course, Jamie and I have videos of our behind the scenes that we hope that you'll also have a chance to take a peek at whenever you have some time. But Lester, what happened to you? Oh my gosh, I guess you haven't heard. Yeah, Lester had a little incident, and I'm calling it an incident. You live a rough life and you work with large animals, and sometimes things happen. And let me go ahead and put that on. Let me post that on here. We're gonna talk about that in just a second. We need to talk about this here in just a second. So I got mixed up with Santana. I was trying to put the cows into the stalls. And as you all remember, if you've been following the page, Longhorn Lester's, long enough, you know that when I built the barn, I made sure that I wanted the cows to be able to eat in stalls. So when we had different events come up, like having to move a heifer over to band camp or having to move a cow here or there, I would have a really neat and simple way to load those cows from the stall into the chute right into my trailer. And so we have a feeling that we're going to have to be moving a couple of our calves pretty soon. And I was just kind of reintroducing the stall, and I got all the cows to go inside, and I'm walking by closing all the gates like I always do. And as I get over there to Santana's stall and I put the chain around the gate and I'm about to latch it, I look down to latch it. And at that point, she had turned around and she was facing me, and she had decided that I'm not going to be latched in today. And so she began to push, and my arm got pinned between the gate, the rails of the gate, and it literally, I felt like ripped something in half. We went to the ER that afternoon, and there were no breaks. All my bone structure's fine, but there's definitely some damage in the soft tissue, and I have to wait until the swelling goes down to have an MRI done to find out what's going to be what. And I'll tell you what, I don't want to focus on this. I do not want to focus on this today. We've already talked about this. But I will say that I read 1,000 comments yesterday of a lot of people, a lot of you guys who've gone through very similar situations. And the prognosis, I think you call it, is bleak, because a lot of folks have had the surgery and you're saying it didn't do much good. You had the surgery because you hoped it would have helped, yet here you are months and years later and you still deal with the pain. And so I've also read of folks who are saying, don't have the surgery, let it heal on its own. The scar tissue will be strong, and just learn to work around it, because if you go through the surgery, you're going to be dealing with 9 months of rehab, and there's no guarantee it's going to actually do anything. So I am so torn. I am so torn. I'm going to have to go with the MRI to see exactly what's wrong, to see if I have to have a surgery. But it's up in the air of whether or not I will or not, based on what the MRI radiologist tells me. So let's not talk about this right now. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm able to do all the chores here at Longhorn Lester's. I have to adjust, but I'm fine. So let's get back to Crandall and Marcy, and the other teams that will be coming out. Guys, it's not a contest for a prize. Yes, we are calling it Surviving I'm a Survivor. And we only made it open to folks who we met, personally met face to face at the Creator Conference. The Creator Conference was for all small creators. That means folks who have a social media page and they're trying to find a way to get it to grow, and they're having no luck in growing a page. And the problem is they don't have a chance to get exposure. And all of us creators talked about different ways to get that exposure. Jamie and I, as you know, were blessed to get exposure from a viral video. And so obviously not everyone can just have a viral video to put out there and get exposure to their page and be introduced to the world through a viral video. Viral videos are very, rare, and they're far and in between. And so Jamie and I have been blessed to have had some viral videos which introduced us to all of you. And then once you get your name out there, then it's word of mouth. Then it's just sharing the page. Will you share the page? And sometimes if you share, you may share it to someone that ends up enjoying it. And so that's how your page grows. If you put out a successful video that gets several thousand views, or millions of views, then oftentimes Facebook and YouTube will also recommend that page to other people, which is like sharing it, except it's sharing it through their platforms. And so we've been very blessed to have grown organically. They call that organically growing without ever having to go through all of the work that the small creators have to go through. Even the Arms family and Cog Hill, Jason started off as the dancing farmer. Jason had a hook. Let me just call it a hook. Jason found a way to hook you as a dancing farmer. And his dancing farmer videos are what begin to be shared. You guys that found Jason as a dancing farmer because someone shared it with you and you shared it with all of your friends. And now Jason and Brooke have an amazing platform, all because of word of mouth, you guys sharing. And then, of course, Daniel had a couple of viral videos with him and his tomatoes and successfully growing tomatoes in a 5-gallon bucket. And who would have known that a farmer who goes out there and can teach you how to grow tomatoes successfully out of a 5-gallon bucket could end up having that video be shared amongst other farmers. And guess what? That was his window of opportunity. But to a lot of smaller channels, it's hard to find that window. It's hard to find that window. All of the creators on Morrow Hill, Jamie, Ellie, Jake, Brienne, my dad, and sister Kim, they all had a window of opportunity by piggybacking off of I'm a Survivor. And I'm not bragging about myself. All I was able to do was share their pages with my friends and family, you guys. And some of you bought into them, and some of you got, nah, it's not my channel. Some of y'all have left me for my dad. Some of y'all have left me for Jake, and that's fine. But you know what? That's we've all found our moment to that open door, if you will. You take that open door and you take a step through it and see what it does for you. But not everybody has that open door. Not everyone can find that open door. And so whereas my open door may have been a video about Hurricane Harvey and the aftermath that I came home to, not everyone has an open door to take a step through if they're willing. And so what we chose to do, Jamie and I had been talking about different ideas for a while, and we had met several creators, small creators, and we just felt that there was something placed on our hearts to offer them a window of opportunity. Now, will you guys choose to go and follow and stick around and see more of the folks that we introduce you to? Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But that's not my job. That's not my job to force you into becoming friends and family to any of the other creators. I don't force you to watch Jake or Bree or Jamie or Ellie or anybody else. Those are, you make choices of who you like to follow based on who fulfills you and who can give that little void, who can fill that void in your heart. And so I am hopeful that you will find as much joy and blessing in these other creators like we did. But like Ann Dale, for example, Ann Dale Homestead, I just felt it in my heart. Something compelled me. I guess I'm going to call it the voice of God. I felt something special about her. And so I went back and I looked at many of her videos, and there was a very calming and relaxing, and I'll be honest, a sort of a Mr. Rogers Neighborhood type feeling about Ann's videos that brought me to a peaceful place. And whatever I was going through, I found that Ann's videos gave me a little bit of peace, and they took me away from whatever stresses I was dealing with. And so I wanted to introduce you guys to Ann Dale. There was no prize to be won. There was no challenge that Ann had to compete with. It was just me having a compelling feeling to share Ann with some of you. And someone's laughing at the Mr. Rogers. And that's funny that a lot of you guys got that same thing. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was a very calm and relaxing show. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, a beautiful day. Won't you be mine? And so Ann brings me that. And maybe that's a reminiscent from times of old, but Ann can walk out to her garden and whatever she's talking about, I just found myself compelled and kind of in a daze, and I'm just watching along. And when it's over, I feel better. So, but that's not for everybody, y'all. Just the same way that Lester is not your cup of tea, as they say, maybe. And here's what's kind of funny while I'm on the subject. Do you know that there's people that enjoy Longhorn Lesters because it's Lester at a calm and relaxed state, but you cannot hardly watch I'm a Survivor Lester because I'm always running around screaming and hollering with geese chasing me and Moo and Jake and all of the stresses that I find that I'm a Survivor. And so we all, some of y'all, but yet others prefer I'm a Survivor because that's the way that you like Lester. Man, you like that guy running around screaming and hollering. And so it's funny what kind of things that we find ourselves drawn to. And so I found myself drawn to Ann. And then with some of the creators that we met, and we met a lot, just trust me, we met a lot. Jamie and I went back and was beginning to watch videos back in our hotel rooms those couple of nights. And I'll tell you what, there were creators that I was drawn to that would just, they somehow, I found something in them that I wanted to introduce to you. And so we took an idea, a vision that we had of getting some jobs done around the farm and offering these different creators a chance to come down, and we paid for those expenses to travel down, and we paid for the materials to have these things built, and we also offered them compensation for the work that they performed. So no one came down and worked for free. No one came down and worked for free. And no, I'm not going to answer the questions of how much for this and how much for that. Guys, it was compensation for a job that they had done. The same way I would go out and contract someone to do this or someone to contract to do that, I offered a contractual labor for folks to do a job for us. And that was in a way their window of opportunity. But in that process, they had to win your hearts. It's their job to win your hearts. I can introduce you, but that's all I can do. And so at this point, it's up to you if you decide to follow or not. And so no one's going to follow a page just because I follow them. That's foolish. I would never follow a page just because you tell me to follow them. When some people send me links of different channels, I always check them out because I'm curious, but I don't always stick around. I will say the one channel that someone introduced me to that I can't get enough of, and I don't know why I'm plugging her channel. It's a woman up in Canada, and it's called Useless Farm. I may have said that wrong. Useless Farm. And what this lady does, y'all, she has this, I think it's an emu whose name is Karen, that runs her ragged. That emu runs her ragged. And I think that she only does TikToks and maybe Instagram. She does short videos, nothing long. But yeah, a lot of people watch her, they say. And so she always gives me a laugh. I like her sense of humor. She will curse. She can curse like a sailor. And guys, even though I don't curse, you all know that I don't curse. Oh, I love watching her curse. I don't know why, because it's the funniest thing to me. And she says the F words. Well, she can really get out there and she can curse with the best of them. But that's funny. But no, so like I said, we will, over the month of October, introduce you to other creators, and they're all going to come down and do a job for us. But as far as the prize to be won, there's no prize. It's just a title. Let's just call it a title. There's a title to be earned, which is they survived. I'm a survivor. They'll be giving a number of days to complete a job that we need to have done. And I guess if there is a prize, it's not so much one that we're giving them besides the exposure. And once they get the exposure, it's up to them what they do with it. And I know you guys. I know you better than you know yourselves, I think. And I know the kind of people that you are. I know the kind of people that you like. I know the kind of voids that a lot of you have in your life. And I know that it fills my heart. And for whatever reason, you come here to fill yours with joy or laughter or happiness, or sometimes just to get a good cry. And I think that I have found some really good people to bring your way that you can also maybe say hi to once in a while. But I'll go ahead and end it right there. As far as Crandall and Marcy, they did put out a second video today of their behind the scenes. So if you've not seen that, you should go check it out at some point. And I want to also say thank you, because they had 10,000 people, 10,000 people subscribe to their channel yesterday. And there's not many channels that grow 10,000 strong overnight. So guys, you're kind, and you're beautiful, and you're loving. And just to think, I don't even think that they do much on Facebook. So that was 10,000 YouTube subscribers. And if now I know they have a Facebook, and they're going to start doing more on Facebook. So if you're the kind of person who doesn't use YouTube, then Facebook is available to you. I will say this, for all of the Facebook people, the next team who's going to come down are mostly, they're bigger on Facebook than they are on YouTube. They have both platforms like we do, but they have a larger audience on Facebook, and they prefer Facebook the same way that we do. So for all of the Facebook people that just could not find yourselves going to YouTube, don't worry, the next team will be a Facebook team, which is awesome. Hey, can we move on to something very interesting? I want to talk to you about a couple of things. And the way I'm going to do that is to share a video with you. So let me go to my files, and I want to talk about something right quick. And I believe this is the one right here.
She looks like she.
That's it. Y'all ready? All right, let me add this to the stream over here. So this over here is our alpaca. This over here is our ostrich named Tina. And as you guys know, Tina is always the one that's the most cautious, and she's always kind of in the background. And today she woke up not feeling too well. I want you to watch the way I call her.
Last year we were so concerned about that one leg that we had the vet take a peek at it, and they actually, oh, she's hobbling bad.
So I want you to watch that one last time.
You know, baby, she looks like she's hobbling pretty bad. Sweetie, I can see that leg shaking. Poor sweetie. Well, come up out of that hill, baby. Come up out of that hill. Come on over here. Last year, we were so concerned about that one leg that we had the vet take a peek at it, and they actually, oh, she's hobbling bad.
Yeah, so y'all can see that. And so you know that we let all the babies out and about. And yesterday we let them run in the big pasture. And we noticed when we brought them all back up yesterday afternoon that she had quite the hobble. She was walking gingerly on that one leg. And that's the same leg that, if you can remember this, last year she had a little knot develop right around her kneecap. And we had the vet draw some fluid from that to see if it was some kind of a tumor or just some kind of a swelling. And the vet got back and said it was, in fact, just some swelling. Maybe she twisted it or turned funny. It could be possibly signs of some kind of arthritis. And so
You
she
know,
had that
baby, she looks
exact
like she's
same knot.
hobbling pretty bad. Sweetie, I can see that leg shaking. Um,
You could see her
Poor
struggling.
sweetie. Well, come up out of that hill, baby. Come up out of that hill. Come on over here. Last year, we were so concerned about that one leg that we had the vet take a peek at it, and they actually, oh, she's hobbling bad. You know, baby, she.
So what we did So what we did yesterday, Jamie and I went ahead and we separated her into her very own pasture. We weren't really wanting to separate the babies yet. I know there's going to come a time when we're going to have to, but Carl is just now getting into the whole mating routine. He's been flirting with the girls for a while. He's been running around with them, dancing. Sometimes, as a way to flirt, he'll walk by and pluck a feather to kind of tease at them, which is really cute watching him do his thing. Um, but we decided to go ahead and pull her away. We wanted to pull Tina off because when they start the mating process, you guys who are familiar with ostriches, it's pretty strenuous. Carl will actually run them around a little bit, and at that point, he will do his routine. But we don't think that Tina needs to be involved in that. Again, last year we thought she might be too young. This year, we're going to, or at least for now, kind of hold her off because she's hobbling, and we don't want to end up injuring her, or if she's already not feeling real well from one of her legs, we're going to let her take it easy. So if you notice any of our videos that Tina is not with the other babies, just know that everything's fine, but for her own protection, we're going to separate her for a while. Sorry, I can't talk with my hands. We're going to separate her for a while and keep her by herself. Now, not to worry, she's in a pasture, a paddock, which is adjacent, which is right next door to Carl and his family. And so they don't feel the separation anxiety that you may think that they would. We put the sprinkler on the middle fence, so when I turn the sprinkler on, it's watering all of the babies. And so, and yes, someone says maybe she tripped, and she could have. I didn't see it happen, but it's possible that she did trip. Or maybe Carl was running her yesterday. Maybe while we were not watching, maybe he did run her and attempt to mate her. I'm not real sure. But we do have her separated right now. And yes, she is with the goats. And so you guys will watch. You'll see that video. We made a video of all of that. I'm not sure if it plays today or tomorrow, but it will be playing pretty soon. Okay, and so, okay, let me go ahead and address this. Guys, you're going to have to stop it, though. I'm afraid it's the exact same lady. I'm afraid it's the exact same lady that will not let it go. Carolyn, please stop. You can say it 100 times. I can see it 100 times, but I have an order, an outline, if you will, that I go by whenever I do my whenever I go live. There's always an order. I don't sit here and just read questions and go from that. There may come a time towards the end where I will do that. So it doesn't matter how many times you scream and holler to talk about it. I'll get to it when I get to it. So I'm not trying to be mean. I know that sounds kind of rude. I'm not trying to call you out, but I will say that we are still waiting for word on Voodoo. I like it when Jamie talks about Voodoo because Jamie has all of the technical terms that I'm not familiar with. I will say this: it is not founder, it is not laminitis. So both of those things are not it. The x-rays did come back, and so neither one of those things are a problem. It is not founder, it is not laminitis, but it is something to do with his hoof, and it's improperly, can I say, balanced? I know that's not the right word choice. That's not the right word choice. And so that's why I would rather Jamie talk about it. But if you're concerned about Voodoo and his health, it's to do with his hooves. All right. It is strictly to do with his hooves. And all of that can be fixed when our farrier gets back out to us. Our vet is going to speak to our farrier, and they're going to collaborate together of how exactly to fix that. But our farrier, congratulations to our farrier, Courtney. You guys may or may not know this, but they had their baby this week. So right now, Courtney is excited about being a new mommy, and we're not going to bother Courtney right now. We're not going to go find a new farrier. Voodoo is fine. He's eating. We're not bringing him inside the barn where he's having to put strain on that concrete or on that rubber padding. He's staying out in the pastures where it's a lot easier on him, and he comes up into the barn every afternoon during the heat of the day to get out of that sun, because he's a light-skinned horse and the sun can affect him. So we're finding ways to adjust and to work with him to give him his best life, and he's going to be fine, but it's going to require some farrier work with possibly even putting some kind of a padded shoe. I know that makes no sense to all of you horsey people. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm talking about, but that is the gist of what I overheard in their conversation. The x-rays, it's not laminitis and it's not founder. It is something to do with the way he was stepping or walking, and that can all be corrected from the farrier. We don't need a chiropractor. We don't need anything like that. And so we did the right thing by having the vets come out. We did the right thing by having the x-rays. But I'm going to leave Voodoo now. So anyone that comes in later and says, what's going on with Tina? What's going on with Voodoo? Guys, you'll have to let them know if you don't mind. You can reply and say, play the replay. Go back to the replay, and you can have all those questions answered. All right, I want to show. Yes, that is good news for Voodoo, y'all. We always worry when your babies go down. We always worry. There's one last video I want to play for you, and then I'll let you go on about your day. And I want to talk about this.
Mama. So look at here. We have quite a few ribs. I look at the health of Mama. So look at here. We have quite a few ribs showing.
Okay, so just a little backdrop. We've talked quite a bit about the health of our heifers, the health of our health. Lester Morrow, get it right. Hold on one second, friends. We have talked a bit about the health of our mama cows. Santiana's a mother, and so is Pearl. And guys, we are entering the winter season. That means that we're going to have less grass, more hay. We also are feeding alfalfa. We're having to feed grains. And like Mr. Rick, our good friend Rick said, you don't really want any of your animals going into the fall and the winter already in bad health. And so I don't think that anyone would say this is terrible, but you know us, and you know that we don't like seeing all of what we're seeing here. We don't like seeing all of these hip bones. We don't like seeing these ribs. We don't like seeing. Now, these are longhorns, and these are not beefy cattle in general, but we don't like seeing so many bones showing. The reason I bring this up is because both Santana and Pearl are both having to take care of calves. That means that whatever intake they're getting is having to be dispersed into the, through the milk and through feeding those calves. And Lester had this crazy idea. Lester had this crazy idea about possibly playing a little bit of God and weaning the calves a little bit earlier than what I had to, earlier than what Google says. Now, listen to me, guys. I'm not trying to be mean. Sometimes things come out mean, but I'm not trying to be mean when I say this. You can all go Google when should you wean a calf off of mother, and it's going to say between 6 and 8 months. And you can go to any rancher's website and you can see all kinds of information, and it's all going to come back at about the same time. But I also need you to know that those are under ideal conditions. Those are ideal conditions. What you can't forget is that we just went through this horrendous heat wave and a drought. It was a drought that we've not felt in any of their lifetimes. These guys were not born in 2011 when we had as severe a drought. And so when you have drought conditions, sometimes, even when it does finally rain, sometimes things come up a little bit different than when they died. Grasses that used to be great are now sometimes toxic. Or grass that used to be great can now sometimes have extra or too many sugars and proteins. And so what we're dealing with right now are, even though we may be officially out of the heat wave, we are still very much in a drought. And our grass, my friends, the grass that's growing is that low to the ground. And you already know that cows and horses, they don't want to eat that low to the ground. They don't want to eat right on the ground like that. And so we put out a roll of hay and it's gone in 3 days. What does that tell you? That even though you may look at the background and see green grass, it's only that high off the ground, and the cows are eating every bit of it and they're staying hungry. So that was kind of the backdrop of why I thought maybe I should go ahead and begin to step in and wean the calves myself. And when I say wean the calves myself, that meant put them in a different pasture and pour the grains to them. I would pour the grains to the calves and pour the grains to the mamas. I would still put out the alfalfa hay as they need it. We would leave the dry hay as they need it, and that would help the bags dry up. Mama's bags could dry up, and then all of that nutrition would go to them, and it would stay on them before the wintertime come. Let me show you some more video and just watch, and we'll talk about it, okay? We'll talk about it.
And then we have that back, that tailbone right there. We don't like that if we can help it. Look at her spine. We need to get Mama fat and healthy again. And Mama knows that she can't do that on the little bit of sparse grass that we have here, along with this having to feed this baby. We're gonna see the same thing happen again.
So I want you to notice in this little frame right here that even though we know Mom needs the nutrition, she still allows Grace, Jolene, to come up alongside her and eat, because Mom knows that that's still her baby. Santana, however, if you watch for a few more minutes, watch Santana and how different it is with her and Santoro.
So I should probably not even talk because I don't want to sway your opinion. I just want you to come up with an opinion on your own. And that's what we need to listen to, what you guys can come up with, not what Lester can tell you, just what you observe on your own. Gracie's looking good. Tex is looking great. And even Santana's looking good. But don't forget, she's been pushing Rip off at her more than anyone else. And look how healthy he looks. He looks great. Wait, I was going to stop talking, wasn't I? Here, I got a little bit more here. Yeah. I was going to stop talking and let y'all make up your own decisions. Let y'all make up your... Okay, here we go again. Here we go, y'all watch. I'm going to set my bucket down. I'm going to have a front row seat for all this.
Here we go.
She wants it for herself. She needs it for herself.
But he's hard-headed. He
I
wants
can't
to be
stop
a
talking.
mama's boy. Did y'all see that? Did you all see that? I want to show you that one more time. She pushes him back. She pushes him back. He doesn't learn. Finally, she takes that horn and she shoves him out of the way. All right. She shoves him out of the way. How do I make this smaller and how do I make that go away now? Okay. So this is where I would like to have some discussion. This is where I'm going to try to read in the comments and put some things up. So our friend Rick says, Lester, Mother Nature will take care of itself. Mother Nature will take care of itself. He says, Lester, do you think that Santana needs help? Look at her. Does she need help? And I would say, nope. She seems like she's doing just fine as it is. She's pushing Rip away. She's pushing him away. She's pushing him away. And guys, what I showed you was her pushing him away from the feed. But you know that when he goes up to the teat, she's doing the exact same thing. Get off me. Get off me. Get off me. And so my question is, and this is what I told you guys when we talked on Friday, when we talked with Rick, this is what I want to show you guys. And I would love to have some ideas and some of your opinions based on what you saw right there. So what are y'all thinking? Could I get some comments? I want to start putting a few comments on top and seeing what you guys are thinking right over here. Here's one. Now, I can't really read. Santana is already pushing him off. Is she drying up? I don't see Rip try to nurse much. So I don't think that she's dried up all the way because I think that he still runs up to her and he tries to latch on. And even though she's moving around, so naturally, I don't think that she's drying up yet. But listen, he's also right by her side. And so, ladies, I want to ask you this, and men, by all means, jump in. Don't you think that she would begin that drying up process if they had further separation? Because even though he may not be nursing all the time, he's right there at her side. Everywhere she goes, I keep joking around, he's being a mama's boy. He's hanging out with mama. And so I don't know if hormonally she's going to continue to produce because he's right there trying to latch on every chance he gets. I think if I was to take him and put him in a different pasture away from her, maybe even back to I'm a Survivor where they're not right there staring at each other all day, I know he can eat grain. I know he can eat the alfalfa. I know he can eat hay. He drinks water. He can eat grass. So I don't know why we have to leave him right there on her, you know, her side by side. I don't know, y'all. And all I'm trying to do is to figure out what is the best thing to do. So, well, I'm trying to pull up some more comments here. I really can't see. I think Santana is saying nope to nursing. Go get your own bucket. She's also hungry, so she needs the nutrients for herself to get herself ready for winter. Wendy, I agree with you. I do agree with you. But what about what would Rick say? Rick would say, Lester, look at what she's doing. Do you think that if she wants Rip off of her, she has a way to get him off of her? She does. She does. But is that enough? Or can we, or should we intervene? I don't know. Hold on. I see one. I saw one that looks kind of fun. He's ready. Pearl needs help. Ah. So what are you saying, Kelly? So leave Rip alone. He's ready. And just help Pearl? I don't really understand. I need to know exactly. Mary says, pull Santoro. Time to pull Santoro. Um, Give Santana a break. Separate them for a while. Um, Annabelle was younger than this and is doing fantastic. Yes, Annabelle was, I believe, guys, she was 3 months. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I know we talked about it a lot. I believe that Annabelle was 3 months old whenever she was forced to sink or swim. Y'all, do y'all remember the exact? I don't remember the exact timing. Um, what did Rick say? Rick said a lot of things. You do what is best. Take Rip and Jolene to ISS. Well, so I could do that, and that would completely let moms dry up. I would not want to leave Jolene at ISS. If I take Rip to I'm a Survivor, he's going to stay there forever. Y'all do know that, right? If I take Rip to I'm a Survivor, he will live his life out there. We will not have to put him in that small pasture the way we had Tex or Carl, because as you remember, Jake and I went down and we built that DMZ. We built those double fences between our pasture and my dad's pasture. So if Rip goes to I'm a Survivor, he would in fact stay there. No, okay, here we go. So Betsy changes a little bit. She says, no, Jolene is too little, yet she's younger than Santoro. She's a month younger. How old was Gracie when she split? Now, Gracie was older. Gracie was already 7 or 8 months old. But the difference is that there was plenty of grass then. There was no drought. There was no heat wave. We pulled Gracie, and when we pulled Gracie, Mom was fat. Gracie was fat. And so there was no need for intervening earlier than what we did because both of them were already very healthy and fat. So we really can't go with Gracie, but Gracie was a 7 or 8 month old calf, which is normal. And when we pulled Pearl off of Mom, she was also 7 or 8 months old. So no, I know, y'all. I know what everybody recommends, and I know the recommendation is between 6 and 8 months. I know that. But I just think that desperate times may call for desperate measures. And I have a feeling that we're going through some desperate times. And so I just don't know. But what I wanted to do was come to you and just show you a little bit. But giving extra food is a plus to help Mom out. And so, Vicky, what I would do if I did pull Mom and no, if I did pull Rip and Jolene, they would get extra food. They would be guaranteed food and grains, their very own flake of alfalfa. They would have access to a round roll of hay, and they would have access to whatever grass is still available while it's available. So now, if I do take Rip and Jolene to I'm a Survivor, you do know at some point Jolene would come back. Jolene would come back over here and be a part of Tex and his family. Y'all do know that, right? So now she'd have to do band camp every year the same way Pearl has to do, the same way Gracie has to do, or either be separated. We could cross fence them away. So that's what I'm torn with, my friends. That's what I wanted to show you, and that's what I'm seeing. Let's look at it one more time. Can we look at it one more time, and then we'll go back one
Look at her
last time.
spine. We need to get Mama fat and healthy again. And Mama knows that she can't do that.
Okay, so let me do what Rick suggested, and let's focus right now on Pearl only. If you think that Pearl needs help, could you just say yes? If you think that Pearl needs an intervention, I'm gonna type it over here. Oh my gosh, can't do that. I'm one fingering. Does Pearl need an intervention? Question mark. Enter that. Show that. Show that. All right, so here's my first question, and I'm looking for yes or no's. Yes or no? Does Pearl need an intervention? And so I want you all to look in the comments and look. You can see what I'm looking at. Here, someone says yes, 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 yes. So triple yes is on that one. So in saying so, out of the thousands of folks that are watching my video right now, I'm blessed to have you following along. And I know that you guys that are watching on your TV don't have an option to comment. I apologize for that. But would you agree that Pearl, because of her bad health, needs an intervention? And I believe, my friends, that it's almost unanimous. There's an occasional no here and there. June says no. Uh, Rana says no. And so I know that it's not going to be unanimous. I know that we're not going to have unanimous. And then Linda goes further than that and says Santana is telling you what needs to be done. So I'm pretty sure that no matter what I do, I'm going to have some folks who are going to be disappointed. I hope that you're not going to be angry. I hope that you're not going to be angry. But I do know that no matter what we do in life, you're always going to have somebody let down, because there's always going to be folks who may disagree. Let me read this over here. Maybe Santana is pregnant and that's why she's pushing Santoro off of her. I don't think so, because normally I see whenever Tex is active, and I've not seen him be active with Santana, and I'm here. Helping her is not weaning Jolene. So helping her is not weaning Jolene. So let me ask you why. Because Monica, if I take Jolene off if I take Jolene off of mom, that means that mom gets all of her own food, not having to share with Jolene. That means that Jolene gets all of her own food, not having to share with Santana. And then don't forget, friends, that if you think that I can give Jolene and Santoro their very own food trough, they'll get all their own food. It doesn't work that way, because whenever Tex, Gracie, and anyone else gets finished, they're going to walk over and they're going to push away the weaker of the animals. So they're going to go right to Jolene. They're going to walk right up to Gracie, and I'm sorry, not Gracie, to Santoro, and they're going to push them off. So what happens, in fact, if I was to pour their very own scoop for Jolene and Santoro, they don't eat fast enough. In this pasture, they're going to be pushed off. They're going to get pushed away. And so these guys will end up getting more, and they're going to end up getting less. So it's iffy, but I tell you what, it does a lot for me to know that I got most of your support on this. And someone's asking me a question. Someone asked me a question, and I lost it already. It went by too fast. You do what you think needs, Lester. They're in great care and loved by you and Jamie. All right, well, I just wanted y'all to be aware. Some of y'all are going to say, Lester, you're going to do whatever you want to do anyway. You're wasting our time. You're going to do it anyway. And that's not always the case. I've listened. I have listened to you guys. I've listened to other folks like Rick. I do listen. Let's go real fast.
On the little bit of sparse grass that we have here, along with this having to feed this baby, we're going to see the same thing happen again. So I should probably not even talk, because I don't want to sway your opinion. I just want you to come up with an opinion of your own. And that's what we need to listen to, what you guys can come up with, not what Lester can tell you, just what you observe on your own. Gracie's looking good. Tex is looking great. And even Santana's looking good. But don't forget, she's been pushing Rip off at her more than anyone else. And look how healthy he looks. He looks great. Wait, I was going to stop talking, wasn't I? Here, I got a little bit more here. I was going to stop talking and let y'all make up your own decisions. Let y'all make up your... Okay, here we go again. Here we go, y'all watch. I'm going to set my bucket down. I'm going to have a front row seat for all this. She wants it for herself. She needs it for herself. I can't stop talking.
All right, so Diane, I respect you for speaking up. Diane says, Lester, you're talking out of both sides of your mouth. Mother Nature will guide you, but it is natural selection. Okay, so was that not Mother Nature guiding me right there? Or are you saying that that's all we need right there? Leave it alone, let it go, leave it alone. And so I'm not trying to talk out of both sides of my mouth. I'm trying to show both schools of thought. I'm trying to show both schools of thought. And ultimately, I'm trying to show y'all the thinking process that I'm doing as we're going through this, but I'm trying to back it up with hard evidence, if you will. So, Diane, I appreciate you in your honesty, but it's not that I'm trying to talk out of both sides of my mouth necessarily. I'm trying to share what I think are both schools of thought, but I'm trying to use these little video clips to kind of back up what I'm seeing when I go feed every day and possibly making a decision on weaning. But I want you to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing, the why behind it. Because I give you my word, if everyone on here was saying, no, 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 too young, no, don't do it, no, 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 then guess what? I would respect that enough to show you, because if you can see what I'm seeing and you're saying no, leave them alone, then of course you respect that. Hey, don't forget, Diane, that you're my boss. Okay, I work for you guys now. I may be the one to manage the farm, but you guys are the ones who make it all possible for me to do what I'm doing. And so I love this. I love good discussion. I love good debate. I love people who don't mind providing an argument. So I'm going to read a couple more. This is something that we've not talked about. Jan says, Lester, you're not taking into account Jolene's immune system. It's way too soon. So, Jan, I appreciate you saying that, but I don't think that's the case over here. Now, obviously, I've not Googled anything about the immune system, but I do believe that Jolene is already eating. She's already eating grains, alfalfa, grass, hay. She's drinking water. So she's already getting out there. She's already able to digest and handle all of these things. The only thing that she's still trying to do is nurse on mom, but mom's not letting her. When is the last time that you've seen Jolene nurse on mom? I can't name the last time I've seen it. I cannot name the last time I've seen Jolene nurse on mom. I'm trying to think back to any videos where you may have seen it, but it just doesn't happen. I think that both moms, I wouldn't even suggest Jolene if I didn't see the condition of Pearl, her health-wise condition, and the fact that Pearl is trying to encourage her to eat on her own. So I'll read a couple more. I can't read that. Let me hide it. I believe it's in Pearl's best interest to be given the opportunity to regain her health before winter sets in. It is the responsible thing to do, commenting on my own experience as a cattle owner. Okay, Janet. So Janet says that she knows from experience from raising cattle that we need moms to be in tip-top shape before winter sets in. And granted, we don't have the kind of winters you guys have in Wyoming and in Montana, but we as soon as we have our first frost, there goes all of our grass. And so at that point, it's dry hay, grains, and then whatever alfalfa we can find for them. And so winter here is hard on animals. It's just as hard as it is in other parts of the country as far as what they have available to eat. So even though it may not be as cold, we don't have to deal with snow, there's still no grass. There's still no grass. All right, and then I'm going to have one last one, and then I have to get off, guys. There was the time that you had a video after the Longhorns moved to Longhorn Lester's, and you said that you think Tex broke in the new land, and that was the day that Santana's tail was to the side. I don't remember that. I don't remember. I remember that Gracie's tail was weird for a while. Gracie's tail was weird, but I don't remember a time when Santana's tail was weird. Joyce, Santora will stay to try to nurse at other times. Santora will still try to nurse at other times. So, okay. Eileen is answering a question to Joyce. Yes, and so obviously during feed time, the babies go to eat around the food troughs. But at other times, yes, they do. They walk up to the teat and they do try to nurse. And so that's when we see moms pushing them away. And by all means, I wouldn't move anything until next weekend when I have time and help. But I can certainly show you guys that because I can see it on camera all the time. I just haven't videoed it. Okay, guys and ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you for taking the time to talk with me and for going over all of this. I told you guys on Friday that I'm going to video some stuff and we'll talk about it during the week. And that's what this over here is, a chance to sit down and talk. I will keep you guys up to date on what's going on with our sweet little Tina. And with that being said, I want to say thank y'all for hanging out with me today, and I'm going to be fine with this. Thank you guys for going and saying hi to the Eldridge fam on their channel. And oh wait, I saw something interesting. Got to get ready for work. Have a great week. Oh, okay, Jennifer, we're out, guys. And with that, I got to get back to work too. I got jobs to get done. Y'all have a wonderful weekend, and we will. It's Monday. Today's Monday. Y'all have a wonderful work week, and I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. I'm certain of it. What else am I going to do? I'm here at Longhorn Lester's limping around. Yeah, I have no reason to limp, but you know, I'll see you guys tomorrow.